All right, so I picked the movie Train to Busan. One, because I wanted to pick a zombies movie, and stay on brand and stuff, selfish reasons. But also just because, like, I think this movie just narratively really subverts the usual. Like, it's not the type of movie you might think it is before going in to watch it, and I think it's really cool. Basically, it's about a bunch of strangers on a train trying to get to Busan, which is like the one safe city, or like that's what they think throughout the movie. But it's also like combined with this narrative of the dad and the daughter. The start of the movie, the dad is basically the biggest piece of shit imaginable. He gives his daughter not one but two Wii's, and I think that just
What a fucking
crazy.
Monster.
That's what I'm saying. And not only that, but he doesn't go to his recital. Like he just realizes
They should have took her away.
He's
Right
that's it. He's an objectively like bad dad, and so he wants to finally do something nice for his daughter. His daughter wants to go see her mom, his ex-wife, right, or
ex-wife,
girlfriend,
Ex-wife.
Ex-wife.
That's what she is in his phone, just ex-wife.
Yeah.
He had someone in his phone as Lemming. That I don't know if you guys caught that. That's the guy he called.
Oh yeah.
Lemming.
Yeah. The dude at the play or whatever. But yeah. So it really ties in the narrative. So like, not only are they trying to get to Busan because it's the one safe place, and that's the end goal of that narrative, but also the dad, he finally wants to do something nice for his daughter and take her to her mom. And so it like links the two narratives. They both have the same end goal. The goal is to get to Busan. And I really like this movie. I forget what I rated other movies, but
So who cares?
I'm gonna give this one an 8. I don't know if that's the highest one I've rated so far, or I forget what I rated Warrior. But
I think it's the same as Warrior.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this movie an 8.
Damn.
I'll go
Alright,
second. I'll
Go
go
ahead,
second
Nate. Go
for
ahead.
sure. So, I mean, I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm a huge fan of zombie movies. I love everything about them. So this was all me from the start. I was so excited to watch this, and it did not fail any of my expectations. I loved every character in it. I thought there was a lot of great subtext throughout the movie. I thought it was very beautifully shot, and I thought it had a great soundtrack, which makes me love any movie immediately more. But yeah, I was a little shocked Chris's opinion was so mid about it, even though he gave it an 8. He's like, yeah, it was okay. I loved every part of it.
I really like this movie.
Coming
Like,
from the guy who jumped down my
ratings.
I wanted to introduce in a less like subjective,
Numbers.
more objective way, and where I just explain what was happening. You know,
Yeah, Chris jumped down my throat the first episode in Avatar when I said it was a good ass movie and they gave it a
I think it
7.
was
You're like,
7.
whoa.
Again, I don't know if
Anyway,
a good ass movie is a 7. Nate, continue, please.
Yeah, I want to just keep this part short. So I actually think this movie is my first 10 out of 10 movie. I loved every part of it. I have
God.
very few complaints that you could
That's
even
off the
give.
charts.
Oh,
I
boy.
thought it treated you very intelligent from start to finish. The characters' stories came full circle. And like I said, it had great subtext beyond even the movie actually had, like what was going on in the movie. And because it's a zombie movie, it really does go back to the roots of the original zombie movie, Night of the Living Dead, which I super enjoyed. But we'll talk about that part later. Yeah, my first 10 out of 10 movie for sure.
Damn.
Oh boy.
Damn.
It's a little surprising.
I loved it. I loved every
didn't
part of
expect
it.
that.
8 is like love territory for me. I feel so. Anyway,
That's how much
Yeah,
I liked
I really
it.
like this movie.
Like, I really enjoyed it.
I guess I'll go ahead and go.
Yeah, it's a hard one to follow, guys. Sorry, but
well, I definitely did not feel that way. I like this movie overall, but I feel like there's quite a lot of like dumb things that happen throughout the course of it, and I feel like it does falter in the third act a little bit. But overall, it definitely swings back up with the end. I think the ending is really good. And everything up until like the third act, I thought was pretty solid. So, but overall, yeah, I thought it was good overall. Just some hitches here and there.
John, where would you put it on the zombie spectrum? Because I know you don't like numerical ratings. Is this like just bitten? Is this full zombie? Is
is
this
this hiding it? Is this not telling
would you put
anybody? Is
Where
this
would you
maybe
put
I
it?
could hide it?
This is being able to hold off your infection to talk to the main characters, and then you can transition to a zombie.
Damn.
Sounds
I feel
good,
like
sounds
I,
good.
I feel like that's an 8 or a 9 rate. That's a very noble
I feel like
character
no.
move.
7 or 8. 7 or 8.
I feel like 6 or 7 is probably
Really?
All right.
That's the thing is zombie movies aren't for everybody. So I figured this one would be kind of back and forth. But good, whoever wants to go next.
I just one last
What,
thing
you
I
wanna
wanna
go?
mention.
Okay, John.
I was gonna say it has a lot of the it has the kind of staple of kind of really somber, pretty grim endings that a lot of other South Korean movies have. That's kind of like a staple of them. So
Well, see, that's the thing. I felt it wasn't. Well, it was grim, obviously, but it was supposed to be like hopeful in the end. You know, I thought that's one
Yeah.
thing that definitely helped it because I don't like when movies just always end like, yeah, this is super depressing and depressing. Like, at least if you're gonna do that, at least end on a good note or some kind of like hopeful note. You know,
I mean, the character is like the dad achieved his end goal of getting his daughter to Busan.
came full
which
circle.
was, like,
That's why I
positive.
felt satisfied. But go ahead. I'm sorry, you two.
Cole?
We keep
Cole, go
fucking
ahead.
you.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of gonna have to agree with John. I think I kind of had really high expectations, and that kind of hurt the experience for me. Like, everybody I've ever talked to has said this movie's amazing. Like, you're gonna love it. You have to see it. And I did, and I kind of felt a little let down. Like, it didn't feel like I don't know. It just didn't feel like anything exceptional. Like, there was a lot of cool things. Like, I loved how the zombies move specifically. I loved, you know, some of the characters. I thought the one jacked like husband with the pregnant wife, I forget his name, but he was pretty sick.
whoever has the names, bring it up.
I have them. I'm not promising any great pronunciations, but
I don't think
Songhua.
None of us. are, I don't
Songhua.
think.
Yeah,
I believe
yeah.
in
I
what
mean,
you
All
said.
of the side characters are like larger than life. Like that dude was like
I
just
love that guy.
Songhua and
selfless.
He was.
Um,
He should have been the main character.
yeah, exactly.
he
No, but-
he was a great character.
You gotta have
Yeah,
the
but
main
that was
character
kinda my
has to be
problem,
flawless.
like-
he was like flawless. Like he was just like the perfect human being.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can talk about that, but I
Suplexed him.
and he caught him. But no, yeah, that was a great part. Since we're talking about them fighting through the train, when he actually like one part where I teared up was when the baseball boy ran into his friends, turned
that
into
was- that was
zombies, and he
tough.
couldn't. Yeah, and
Yeah.
he couldn't bring himself to fight. That was a very good part. I love that part. I actually want to say I don't know if any of you guys like saw anything about the filmmaking for this, like how they did it.
No.
No.
I don't even know if you like thought about that, but I got super interested in that. And so basically they built like a set of a train and like filmed it from the outside, like left one side open for all the shots they filmed from the outside,
Ooh.
obviously. And
Yeah.
they would use like green screens on the train, obviously, and stuff to make it look like that. But yeah, they filmed it pretty much in a train. Like they built that train that they filmed in.
It's kinda
And
cool.
filmed on
Speaking
that,
of
yeah.
shots, this has one of my favorite shots in movies in general,
Ooh.
where they have the camera rigged to like the person's body and it's fixed on their face. So
Oh,
when they
yeah.
move around, it just looks like the background's moving.
Mhm.
I love it when movies do it. The fucking Hangover does that, and I remember like I was like, oh shit, this is like actually pretty cool.
It looks sweet.
But,
They did that to that
yeah,
zombie.
I love when movies do that, and I
Yeah.
liked how
The shaky
they
cam.
did it. They did it on a zombie, which like it fit the perspective of like this is like kind of like an inverted person, where like instead of them moving through the lens, like the lens is moving around them. I thought the shot kind of just mirrored
Mhm.
like them. Like I thought it was like symbolic of them and being in a zombie. But I love that. I love that type of shot.
Yeah, you mentioned like I think it was Nate mentioned like subtext. That's I think like definitely a benefit to this movie is that it's not just
A zombie
like,
movie.
It's not just like the action. There's like actual like because I feel like the overlying theme is like kind of twofold. It's about the main character, the father, trying to improve as a father and be less selfish and more selfless, and that's kind of the overall thing where in order not just to be a better father you have to be selfless, but in order to save the people on this train you have to be selfless. And I think that actually I think it follows through really well over the entire course of the movie.
Yeah, I enjoyed that throughout the movie. Every time someone helped other people, it just helped the situation instead of making it worse. You know, when they worked together, things worked out. But when they turned on each other, that's actually, I saw something the director said, the part where they kick them out or they wouldn't let them in, like, that whole section there. He said, fear and selfishness is spreading like a disease. Like that's the virus.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, and that's kind of part of the whole subtext to it too, because that's the thing about zombie movies. If you go back to like the original Night of the Living Dead, it like even that was about like really about like class issues and racism and stuff like that. And this one specifically focuses on class issues. Like that's why the homeless guy, he first of all, he knows what's going on from the start and no one listens to him. He's the first one to know, and no, I forget that's called something in a movie, but I do not remember.
Dramatic irony? Or is that when the audience
no,
knows?
like there's like a name, like it's like a Greek character.
Oh.
Like
okay.
I can't remember her name, but yeah, and he's selfless throughout the whole movie too. Like when he helps someone throw in the is it a cover, like a cover over the zombie's head when it's going after the main character.
Yeah,
And
like
this is when the main character is a dick. Like still, he was trying to leave him. Remember, he was like, "I'm coming with you."
Yeah.
Once again, he's the only character that's aware of what's going on, and that's usually a person you would write off. That's why they use a homeless person, and he doesn't get a name too, which I think is super interesting. I'm pretty sure it's homeless man or
Caption is
homeless guy.
man.
Yeah.
Can we talk about how could you hate a character like while watching something more than the evil boss man of this movie? Like,
Oh my god!
So,
Let me tell you his name. Let me tell you his name real quick because you'll love it.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
His name is Young Suk, but we should call him Young Suk. Because
Young
that is
Suk,
Young Suk.
Old Suk.
Young Suk.
But no, he's like textbook like psychopathic. Like he pushes people into the zombies for maybe like he in situations
even
where he
need
doesn't
to.
even need to. He might be like increasing his chances of survival by like 5%.
1%.
Throwing away his lifelong assistant and like friend. Like
Killed
all
the
in the
train
process.
conductor for no reason at the end.
For literally no reason.
Well, I mean, he was gonna die if he didn't do it at that point.
Well,
but
he was.
I'm
his
not
leg
agreeing
was
with him.
fucked.
He's a
He was
dick.
helping him get to the train, and he pushed him over.
He got
I felt
bit
bad for
anyway.
the train
Too.
conductor.
Yeah.
Yeah, the train conductor was the unsung hero of this movie. Like, what a guy! He was just
Yeah.
doing his job while everything was going down. Too bad
He
he
didn't
tried
know
to
what
help
was happening.
Young Suck.
That is true.
But
Like, he really didn't know what was even going on for most of it.
for the first half, pretty much.
Yeah.
There's a lot of very interesting. Like, I feel like this is a movie you could rewatch a couple times and see new things pretty much every time. Like, one thing I wanted to say. So the father dies in the end. We didn't bring that up yet, but
Spoiler.
I think
spoiler.
like something to go how the movie comes full circle. I'm trying to think before I say it, but I don't remember any other specific time where he smiles in the movie besides that part. Maybe smirks, but I can't think of another moment. If there's more, it's like once or twice. That is the only time he actually full on
He
smiles.
finally does his selfless act to
yeah.
finally get his daughter to where she needs to be. And then and then it's the song that he showed his daughter right at the end
Aloha
that ends up
Singing.
saving her life, which is like a cool
Oh
ending,
yeah, that
I
was such
thought.
a good song. That was that was a beautiful ending. And like I said,
I wanna
definitely
know-
help.
Yeah, I want to know more about like why this third act was so bad.
Okay, can
It's a little fast. I'll
Can
say
I bring
that.
this up a little real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
The daughter as an actress did really, really well for being
Suwon?
like 8 years
She was
old.
really good, yeah.
Dude,
She
she
did
deserved an
really
Oscar.
good. Most times when there's a child actor in a movie, I'm
Seems like they're
conscious
reading
and
lines.
aware of them. Oh, that's the child actor. And like this one, it was just like, oh, she's just another character. Like she fit in so well with like the already like stellar like list of characters.
She might have been the best actor because of that.
Yeah, dude. Dude, when she was like crying, like holding on to him, I was like, that seems so real. Like that doesn't seem fake at all.
I should say
It was
that's
so
such a good difference from the beginning too, with the Wii scene where they're facing away from each other in the beginning, and then right in the end, right before he has to sacrifice himself, she's clinging to him, facing right toward him. That's like just a cool shot, like film difference you can make. Call back to the beginning. I'm not using good words, but you know what I mean.
But yeah, why
John, you
is
want
this
to
third
take
act
on the
so
third
bad?
act?
So, like, I feel as though as soon, and like it's pretty much begins when they get to the train yard, like when they have to make their stop.
Yeah, that's the third act, pretty much. I believe.
From there, I feel like it's kind of like everything just kind of happens so abruptly. Like I feel like a lot of the character deaths are just kind of like so quickly in succession to one another.
Well, okay, so the transition from the second to third act, like that, I think that's when they were like kind of like on the tail end of fighting through the train. That was when kind of like the whole gimmick of them like socking zombies, like that was like a big issue for me, I guess. It's not like a huge issue from the movie, but that's what I found a little bit goofy, how they were like kind of just like rock'em sock'em roboting the zombies. But again, we already talked about that. The other thing I kind of had an issue with was the old lady who sees her sister dead just decides to suicide kill everybody on the train.
Well, can I say something about this part real quick? There's nothing to do with this, so I want to say it real fast. That old lady, the younger broad, she is played by a younger girl, and I saw her immediately, and I was like, "There's no way." Yeah, because
it was very noticeable.
The makeup's good, but it's still, you could tell it's like a young person wearing makeup, you know? Like, it's close enough to where I wasn't certain, but I was like, if that's actually an old woman, like, I would be blown away. Like, she looked like she could have been 30 just looking like an old person.
So that scene, I understand what it was meant to be, is that, like, them, all the people on that car who didn't want to let, like, our main characters get on, let them not letting them on and like them having to like struggle at the entrance was basically the reason that like her sister ended up dying, because her sister wanted to like, you know, she wanted everybody
she let
else
everyone
to get
go
on.
first.
Yeah, because she didn't want them to have to like struggle back to grab her, and then like a zombie could have grabbed on. And I understand her being like, okay, my sister's dead because of these people, and you know, that's why she just decides that like it would have made sense if like she wanted herself just to die alongside her sister. But everybody else,
I think it was very much I think fuck these people, and I don't blame her because fuck young stuff.
I think she viewed it as they were doomed from the start. Like,
I don't blame those people.
This is the goddamn apocalypse. Everybody's gonna die. I'm going to die with my sister in this, like, in her view, maybe like a noble way.
I think it's supposed to be implied from the beginning. Like, I think they're supposed to try to establish like the selfish characters and the not selfish ones. And I think the older sister is established as not selfish in the beginning, and it's supposed to show, because I forget, there's a small conversation they have about the sitting where she's like, you shouldn't be helping people, you know, or they're like talking about the concentration camps. That's actually something I forgot about. And it's clear that she's like, she don't give a fuck. Like, she'll kill these people, but she's too old, you know? And there is actually something I read where you'll see that a lot of the older people get the younger people killed in this movie. Yeah. That's like the older guy, young sucks, old as dirt.
Suck.
Young sucks old like 50% of those.
Old suck.
Young, but she kills the other 50, so it works out.
Like old suck, he was the main like asshole, evil character. But everybody else was just afraid. Like, obviously, like, what they did.
And he was riling them up.
Every character in this movie was either just the most selfless person that doesn't exist in real life,
pretty real.
Or the most selfish person that doesn't exist in real life.
I don't blame those people for thinking the way that they did.
Yeah, and I don't blame her for killing them.
Even though, up until that point, and for the sake of, like, you know, keeping the movie moving along, the like, transmission of the infection is, like, basically just instant for the zombies. Like, as soon as you get bit, like a couple seconds after.
Well, it seems like
and when they
the
show
closer
up,
to your head it is. It seems like the closer to your head it is, the fast, because that's why it spreads from the girl's leg at first, and it takes a while.
But like, they show up, and they're clearly like able to talk and like, you know, articulate themselves. So they're not like there's not really risk of infection.
What was their solution again? Was they just waited in another car, right? Like the car ahead? They didn't make them go back, did they?
Send them in the car behind.
The vestibule.
And that's where all the zombies were?
No.
There's like
a
transitional space between like
the cars.
One of the cars, yeah.
So that seems like he could have been like, we're not bit. If you want, we'll go wait in this car for like 5 minutes to prove it.
Well, they also
that
don't know.
Very reasonable.
They don't know all about how it's transmitted yet. Like, they're not fucking scientists. Like, they're just like, I wouldn't be 100% sure either.
But the point is that the selfless characters like these. Yeah. So like, if you're not viewing it through that lens, then like,
I get the narrative consistency.
I'm all about giving this movie a 9. Like, you guys convinced me.
I feel like it's a little too black and white way of looking at it, though.
I think this movie
that's
is very
the lens
complex,
that it's intended to be viewed through. Like, I feel, I don't know.
I think when decisions are written poorly for the sake of like a narrative point, it just seemed a little.
What decision was written poorly?
I didn't feel it was poorly.
Name one.
Like I said,
name one decision that was written
we were just
poorly.
talking. Where they could just be like, hey, we'll wait in the other car. Because that's what they did anyway. There's no reason for the argument to happen. Like, they could have just, like, solved it really quickly.
Well, there wasn't really an argument. They just kicked them out. They didn't
Yeah.
really even talk to them. They didn't check them.
Yeah.
They didn't look them over. They just like saw they were angry,
But
and
the
they were
point was
so
they were
scared.
acting out of fear. They were
Yeah.
they were acting
Yeah.
irrationally.
That's the
out
part
of fear.
I was talking about. Where the director said that the
Yeah,
the
but
thing.
like why they would have held the door shut for so long. Like I don't know. It just seemed a little bit odd to me. I don't know if that you share that opinion too, John.
They basically made a group. The people that were in that part of the train made a group that no matter what, we're not letting anyone in here. We're the people that are going to live through this. And they were doing, they stopped at nothing. Like, that was the whole point, I feel.
Well, I think it's because you got to remember, like I keep saying, like they don't know what we know. Like
Yeah,
we know what
obviously.
the main
Yeah.
characters know, but we don't know what those people know. And specifically that guy, it's supposed to be, that's the thing, that he's like fear mongering them into being like doing stuff. So like he's like, fuck, we got to be scared right now. We got to get him out of here. They're not gonna think. They're like, yeah, get him out. Like I would be like, yeah, I don't fucking know, get him out of here.
I think it's just,
Like why would I care?
it just doesn't justify to me that lady killing all of them. Is kind of the way I see it.
Oh, yeah, well, that's
shouldn't be
not
able
even
to
what we were-
justify
I don't-
it.
I don't
You
think we
should
were
look at her
talking
and
about
was
that
like,
anymore.
wow, what a shitty
Yeah, I don't-
fucking person.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't
that's
think-
what you're supposed to do.
I don't think you're supposed to be like,
And I
good
don't.
for her, girl boss
Yeah,
moment.
I-
But you
But,
understand
like,
her motive, though. Like, that's the point. You
I
understand her
understand-
motive, so it's not poorly written. Like, she has a motive.
I get her motive. I get what it's supposed to represent. I just don't
So
think
what
it,
is the
I just don't
argument?
think it follows through as like an effective scene. Like, oh, okay, like you feel what it's trying to convey. It just doesn't really follow through.
All right, I'm
I
giving
think
it a
it's just,
10.
It's just
I-
more of
10
for
movie.
shock value. I feel like.
Chris is really trying to convince you watch this movie, but I feel like once again you have to remember, like I said, I feel once again, John, I feel like if you rewatch this, you might like it a little more because there's little things like that. He was talking about the concentration camps where she's talking about if they riot or they act crazy, they would go to the concentration camps. Like so, she's brutal. Like that's her mindset from the start. Like it's very well, like that's why it's not supposed to be a good thing.
I know that.
Like it's supposed to be the
Yeah, I
old
know that.
bad mindset of how I mean, I'm not saying you have to like it. I just like
Yeah.
that's what it was, and I thought that was clever and enjoyable. And fuck those people. So I was glad to watch them get eaten, and then I was pissed when young Suck lived. So
All right, biggest problem of the movie actually is who buys a Wii in 2016?
I think that was that's because like that
This-
shows that he doesn't know
I-
like what
I-
kids
Do
are
they even
like.
sell Wii's in 20? I
He
don't
did
think
ask.
sold them.
he did ask what is
Yeah,
this
what
kid
a
like,
kid's
but
like.
to be fair, he got her the black one twice.
The
So,
black one looked cool.
I mean,
it did
look
look cool.
for all the complaining she was doing, she could have just sold the Wii and been fine.
She
She
had
could have
the
won.
Wii in
bought
the
herself
car
a
with her,
birthday
too.
gift.
She was bringing it to her mom's house.
Yeah, she was gonna. It was for the other
Two
house.
Wiis.
2 Wiis. I'm thinking this kid was being a little spoiled, a bit of a crybaby. I may
Jaden.
knock it down to a 6. No. Oh God, I forget what I was gonna say now because I started doing a bit.
Actually,
Someone
I
else
had a
take it.
question.
Yeah.
I had a question. I don't know because I feel like I kind of missed something watching the movie. Like, what was the like reason for the outbreak, and what was the dad's connection to why it started?
Oh,
because
it
The factory
never-
at the start.
It never.
No, the factory at the start. Like, they had a
It
leak.
doesn't.
and then
It doesn't show how is what I'm
Oh,
saying.
yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah, sure.
dick.
But the point is, it's like it's like the corporation factory
What was it,
has a leak
biotech?
because they're
Yeah,
careless
it was
and
with bio-
Yeah, but
Biofarm,
what was the-
biopharmacist.
what was the dad's connection? Because his worker called him. And
He was friends with
"Is this
him
They
my
were
fault?"
funding it. No, they were funding it through their hedge fund.
Is that
It was
it?
one of
yeah,
the-
that's
yeah.
what that's what it was.
Yeah, so basically it existed because of them. That actually, good thing you brought that up, Cole, because that's one of the best scenes for me too. When he finds out one of the first times, I think because this is before Big Bulk Dude dies, right? Bulk Man.
That phone call.
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah.
after.
It's
Right
after.
after.
It's
right
when they're
after.
actually going to Busan.
Okay, so I'm gonna do 2 things real quick here. Then that his change is so believable for one because of the bulk guy.
Yeah.
Because of bulky dude. Because he spends time with him and he like sees how things actively help him. That obviously like it makes him a better person and he clearly like kind of respects him. But that also leads to the part where he finds out he killed them, which is like heartbreaking again. Or not really he killed them, but like he was indirectly responsible for everything that happened. And it is kind of once again being like fuck hedge fund people. Like every hedge fund person is the worst person ever. Like he didn't know, but
It seems a bit unreasonable for him to be like, oh, hey, like these guys are gonna do some cool biotech stuff. I have money. How about I fund it? Like it'd be cool.
well,
And
we
then it's
don't
just like,
know. Sam, we don't know. Maybe the selling point was like we're gonna make zombies. It never says, so maybe that.
true.
And he's
It's in
like,
the
shit,
fine print, we're gonna kill everybody.
Yeah,
That
we
would've
didn't
been-
read it.
Could kill
the
everyone.
novelization. We're gonna sell zombies to the military and send them to Pandora. And,
Send them to North Korea.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah, he tries to wash the blood off his hands and it won't come off. I think that's great. And him telling his the guy he's working with, because like, is this our fault? And he says it's not your fault. He wouldn't have did that in the beginning of the movie. So like that's a good sign of how he's grown as a character, that he would.
yeah,
I don't want to say he lied to him, but he definitely helped him refrain his guilt.
100% not his fault.
Yeah.
It's just like,
No,
I mean,
Alright, dude.
it kind of is. Like, imagine that was you. If you found that out, you'd be like, well, I'm not telling anyone that because they're going to be pissed at me.
It's like every like action has a
Yeah.
consequence, because it is like
Yeah.
partly his fault. Like
Yeah.
it
Well,
really
and
is.
it's implying
indirectly
that
is a good way
his.
to put it.
Well, actually, there is something to say in the beginning, because remember, he gets a phone call about some place is like it has like a slight drop in stock or something. He's like, just drop them, just fuck them, just drop them immediately. Like, so it's supposed to show that he's very selfish, and it's supposed to super imply he's super greedy about money. You never really see it is half the problem, other than that one part. Like, so I'm not gonna say they don't show it at all. But it's mostly implied through people being like, fuck him. It's kind of like in American movies when they're like, you're a lawyer, fuck you. Like, I mean, it's like, I'm not all lawyers are fucking pieces of shit.
Well,
Yeah,
the
but-
daughter also references him choosing his work over his wife.
Yeah, but it doesn't
So-
show him like grubbing for money and like screwing people over.
Oh,
you
no,
know?
I
That's
think
what
he
mean.
is one of the like before the movie starts, like if like in this world, he is one of the selfish people. Like he is the type of dude. Like I feel that he would push somebody into the zombie horde if it meant he could like save himself.
Oh, he shut the
But
door on the
he shut the
pregnant
door on
wife.
the- on the
On a
pregnant wife.
pregnant
Yeah,
wife. And then
Yeah.
the dude called him an asshole. That was my favorite part, because I was like, if he doesn't confront him, I'm going to be pissed.
Yeah.
And he was like, let's throw him in there.
Yeah.
And then he
That-
sat
that's a
down with
good
his
point.
daughter.
I think the only unreasonable shitty character, unreasonably shitty character is Old Suck. Because everybody else, when they do shitty stuff, it's like kind of believable. It's like, okay, I could see it. Like it's like in the typical horror, like typical zombie movie trope is like when they pass people on the highway and they don't pick them up even though they need help. Like that's pretty believable. I would see most people doing that.
It's the difference between like self-preservation versus like selflessness. And I like I guess like especially in like apocalyptic zombie stories, I find the self-preservation angle of a story really interesting. But at the same time, I also like the selflessness too.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah,
just
well, I
a
think-
matter of like two conflicting ideologies.
Well, I think the boss man dude is like he's literally just like a psychopath. Like
Yeah,
he's
he's legitimately.
His
Well, hey, I'm
only
gonna be
his
real.
only reasoning for his decisions is what's the best chance of me living here,
Yeah.
and not considering anything else. Like he'll stop at nothing
He
to
likes-
increase his
He
chance.
likes
of
pushing
living.
people.
I
into
think
zombies.
you guys. I think you guys.
he doesn't.
Are
He
wrong.
doesn't care. He doesn't care.
I think he makes like not. I don't want to say rational decisions, but like he's not making stupid decisions. That's why
Yeah,
he
they're-
survives the whole movie.
Yeah, they're
he
well
makes.
thought out.
But like when he throws the dude out and runs out of the bathroom, that like zombies are fast in this movie. That's the one
That's
thing.
probably
they
the
got.
only way he makes it out.
Yeah, that's probably.
But
the
he
only way
didn't need to
makes
kill
out.
the girl later, right? The baseball dude.
He was being chased by a zombie.
I felt like
no,
he
that
didn't
one
need
he
to
didn't
do
really
that.
need
That
to do
one was
that.
unreal.
That one-
Get out of my way, bitch.
Yeah, he just crossed her aside.
No, he was being, well. I'm not. Once again, I didn't say they were rational. He just yeeted her
Yeah.
right into the zombie's mouth. But he was
Just felt
he
like
like
hitting
it was.
something.
You got to think from his perspective. It's like, how do I get out of this? He should have just shut the door because zombies can't open doors. But he's
Yeah.
throughout the whole movie, it's shown that he's not smart. That
Yeah.
again,
Again,
and he says that in the beginning. Remember where I love that too, the foreshadowing where he says you got to go to school or you're gonna end up like him, and she's like, Mom says
Oh,
people
yeah.
who says are a bad guy. He's the worst guy in the movie.
I literally.
I
had
knew
that
right
written
away.
down.
That's a great one.
But he mentions that school, and he's stupid. Like he doesn't like a lot of the other characters make smart decisions. He doesn't make smart ones, but he gets like I don't want to say he doesn't make smart ones because like I said, he is the one
Every
doing the only
decision he
thing that gets
makes
him out
has
of
at
it.
least like it has a positive for him.
Yeah,
There is
yeah.
Smart doesn't
a
mean
benefit.
He's
good.
selfish. He makes selfish decisions.
He's
That's the
not
best way to
weighing the
say it.
benefits and the
Yeah.
the
He's
cons,
only
pros and
thinking about
cons.
himself in the moment.
Yeah.
He didn't
Yeah.
did his opportunity cost and get out his spreadsheet.
Oh yeah.
Really
I mean,
think
yeah, he's it's literally just like, smart decisions it's not one to one with good decisions.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it's
yeah. That's
whatever's
a good way to describe
right,
it.
yeah, the
But,
smartest
yeah.
decision for him living isn't necessarily like what
Good.
the normal person would do, or like that might not even be rational. Like his best way of living to increase his chances the most of living is pushing everybody into the zombies and running away. But that's
Yeah.
not necessarily like what a rational person would do.
Yeah.
And I think
But then
yeah,
I mean,
that's
like the
kind of-
selfless
Baseball
decision
boy
can be the stupid
fucked
one
up.
too.
Yeah, true. Baseball boy fucked up quite a few zombies. So if he would have just been like, bro, get
Yeah.
him, it could have worked out. But
Yeah, man. They're like, dude, I get it's your high school crush, but you
I
can't
wouldn't-
you can't just hold her and let her eat you like that.
well, once again, I felt like that. The only reason I feel like that's set up well was shut up, Cole. Was because when he hesitated with his friends, like him seeing his friends die,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he hesitated throughout the whole movie with stuff like that. Like he couldn't just keep going. And once again, the old dude killing the young people again. Like that's like a recurring theme throughout the movie.
When there's in the very beginning, when this is like such a niche thing, I just thought it was kind of funny. Before they're driving to the train station, a fire truck bursts into the intersection and he slams on the brakes and he says, "Jesus Christ!" Like that's the subtitle that came up.
Yeah.
And I was like, would they say that in Korea? Like, is that actually would they actually say Jesus Christ as like a
it was probably just like
don't know.
I think they do have a pretty large Christian.
Christian? That I
Well,
figured
that's why this movie is the way it is, because if you don't know a lot about Korea, it's actually its economy and its like lifestyle now is very
Very-
similar to America.
well,
like,
I feel like if he said some sort of like Korean phrase that was like the equivalent of Jesus Christ, like that's probably what it translated from. I assume that it wasn't like actually.
I'm pretty sure there was
didn't
crosses
actually
in the
say that.
movie. That's something I wanted to say. I'm pretty sure you see a cross in the movie.
I would
at
bet
some
on the
point, 'cause
side.
I
that it
remember
was, like, a
seeing
Korean
it.
phrase translated.
Maybe it
But
could
that's
be,
just-
but
Yeah, the equivalent of like, oh shit. or-
I don't think
It
Yeah,
wouldn't-
I don't know that they would say
something
that.
maybe even tied to like
If it was-
tradition, like a religious tradition or something.
True.
I generally
If it
don't know.
was-
it
I feel
wouldn't
like,
blow
I feel
me
like they would
away.
have said, "Oh God," then, because then it's like, okay, oh God. It like it literally says Jesus Christ. I just thought that was funny.
Translations are they try to match lip flaps and shit like that, so it's like weird. Like you never know what they're gonna put in there.
I just thought it was funny. It's not even really like a big thing, but I remember like seeing that and I was like, oh,
No, I was
I don't know.
curious
That's
because,
a good
like I
question.
said, I'm pretty sure I saw a
Oh.
cross at one point, and I was like, "Oh, do they have like a big Christian community there?"
There
Yeah,
is
they
I
might.
couldn't imagine.
There is
Like,
something
might, they
I
might,
wanted to
they
bring
might.
up. I wanted to know, like, so as the beginning of like, as like everything kind of unfolds, there's that part when like the news comes on, and there's a couple videos that's meant to be like, in-world people recorded videos of what was going on, and there was that like those guys like skateboarding in the parking lot.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want to know because those helicopters fly.
How did they
over.
get on the helicopter?
Those you saw gunshots, like you could see gunshots like in the helicopter, like as they're flying over the two helicopters, but like civilian people come flying down, like people in civilian clothes. Like what was going on in that scene? I was so confused.
two things. One, have you ever seen World War Z? Because I think that happens like 8 times in that movie. Zombie beats helicopter. But two,
They
it's
learned to
probably,
fly.
Probably medevac helicopters. I didn't even think about that. until we
Oh,
started
you
Could
know
be,
talking
yeah.
what? That's
Probably
actually.
medevac.
Oh, Sam, you ruined the whole joke.
I
know.
know because
I
I
know.
wanted to know what was going on. I was just confused.
It was confusing, and that is the one time in the movie where they just like don't die from like blunt trauma to the head, which like most of the rest of it, enough blunt trauma
Yeah.
stops them. That's the one time I was like, that's a little
They didn't
like they break the
die whenever you
continuity.
would punch
Yeah.
them. They would like
No,
would
no,
get
no,
back
no,
up
no.
eventually.
I know,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that's why I said a lot. Like when he was hitting
Yeah.
him with the bat, that was killing him and stuff. Like they didn't have
Yeah.
to destroy the brain.
Yeah.
It almost seemed like because in zombie movies, like they're still living things, so maybe you can knock them unconscious. Like they don't go over like the like nitty
Wow,
gritty.
that's
like,
interesting. I wonder if
It-
you could knock him unconscious.
Yeah, because in a lot of the zombie movies, they're like, you theoretically in like zombies, you should just be able to wait them out until there's no more food,
Yeah.
and they'll just starve to death or like freeze to death. But they never do. Like they're like supernatural. But if this is like a super grounded one, like maybe it's like a rabid dog, where like you actually could just like knock it unconscious.
My
The thing about zombie movies is it doesn't really matter. They kind of pick as it
No,
goes.
yeah,
Like, they
yeah.
can be from magic. They can be from
My-
a virus.
My one question I always have about zombie movies and stuff is like, if a zombie is eating you and that makes you turn into a zombie, at what point does the zombie stop eating you because it realizes you're a zombie? Like that's all I want to know.
That's
It also seemed like they weren't
World
eating
War Z.
people. They
World
were
War
just
Z.
It was
turning
just transmission of the
Yeah.
virus or
Yeah.
whatever.
Like,
trying to keep itself
guess.
alive. Oh, I was gonna say this movie is not very gory, actually. Yeah,
Yeah,
if you
not
pay
really.
attention, it does.
Yeah.
It very subtly like it has a little bit of gore, but never like you see blood and you might see like marks on their skin that look like they got, but nothing like there's not blood like there's not guts everywhere. You don't see anyone's entrails getting ripped out like you would expect. It's a PG-14, I think, movie.
That's what I was
Do you
gonna
think
ask.
that's a cultural thing? Is that like a Korean thing? They don't show as much.
Oh
gore?
No,
they do.
no,
they
no,
do. They do.
Their horror is kind of, but
Yeah.
that's what I was gonna say. Kid, like teenager friendly, I think is very helpful with this kind of movie. I think that's actually cool sometimes to have like horror movies that aren't just. I'm not a gore porn guy. Like, I mean, I like cool kills sometimes in movies and stuff.
Yeah.
I can get into that. But if
But it's
that's
not
all the
distracting.
movie is, if that's all the movie is, I'm not gonna love it. So
Yeah.
I'm okay with them. I enjoy some of the best horror movies actually have a lot less gore than you would expect. Like gore is not necessary for scares or for like that oh shit type feeling you get from these movies.
On that topic, I think that it was really cool that the dad, like, he wasn't framed as just a complete piece of shit. Like, it's clear that he was, like, in his own way, sort of trying. Granted, he should have been trying better, to be a better father.
Yeah.
But he wasn't, like, completely ignoring his daughter. And the guy, based Chad guy the pregnant wife husband,
Yeah.
kind of validates him and is like, look, it's a thankless job, so like you can't wait for like validation from some people to confirm what you're doing. Like, you just need to know what's good and do what's good. That's like the vibe I got from him.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I like that he had that kind of like tough love moment, and then like
Like fathers get the
You
raw
know.
end of the deal or something like that.
Well, yeah, because
Yeah.
I think he works this job because he thinks like, oh, I need money for my daughter.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's his actual like. It's why but then he just got
He's
like too
working.
sucked into his job, and he actually didn't give
Yeah.
her like enough attention and stuff.
he
And-
says when she's older, she'll understand why like you were
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah.
I was like, damn,
No,
pretty
that's why I like
based.
that.
Pretty solid.
And something you brought that up is when he's talking about that with him, and that's when they're bonding. One of the things that makes the turn so believable and makes him so likable is he says it's all about sacrifice. And I remember watching that and thinking, oh yeah, that's because he's about to die. Like, I thought the bulky dude was gonna die because he was the one that made them all safe. Like, when he was there, you knew they were gonna be safe. As soon as he died, everything went to shit. But and I didn't expect that to also. Like, it meant like sacrifice with the daughter, him working so much and stuff like that, and him being like, I get that. Like, he was giving him a hard time about that, but he's like, because he was going to be a father soon. He was like, I do understand that, it's not easy. And then I didn't realize till after I watched it that that also came full circle with him, because he literally sacrificed himself for his daughter.
Yeah, but I think another theme, and I might be completely wrong about this, but like the movie like has a lot to do with the different cultures, like a Western culture, like something like in the U.S. compared to Korea, where like their culture is more like community based and doing things for the greater good of all people, whereas like we are like way more individualistic.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
those like ideals like clash throughout the movie.
Mhm.
And I mean, I guess it does like go back to the selfish versus the
It's
selfless,
definitely
but in a broader
is
society
pushing
sense,
the
too.
community. Like, like you should work for the community, or not work, but like,
It's just general collectivism, really.
yeah, like your
Yeah.
goal should be for everyone to succeed or
And
survive.
isn't that true about like South Korea culture as a whole, to where they are more
I think,
like community based than
I don't know. The
I
fact that
see,
there's-
I don't know enough about Korea, but like I know that people feel like they're homeless. Their homelessness is like a big problem in Korea now, or becoming a bigger problem, and that's why like they include the homeless guy and everything. So I think they're trying to stop people from leaning away from those traditions of caring more
Okay.
about.
and at least maybe going towards that, maybe not currently.
Okay,
But
Yeah,
if
that's
you just
what I
if you
was
just do like a
thinking.
basic like South Korea as a collectivist country reveals, so like it's entirely like I think
okay.
it's the main theme of the movie is that like it's about, I don't know who's the director, but they might see South
I
Korea
actually didn't look up.
as becoming more
Yeah.
individualistic, like a country like the U.S., and it's kind of pushing back on that. I feel that's just what I
Yeah.
wanted to say.
That's what I thought it was trying to say too.
It's like,
That's pretty much what me and Sam said.
It's like if it was in the U.S., everybody would be like old suck. It would just be a bunch of old sucks
Yeah,
on the train.
a bunch of old sucks. Imagine a bunch of old sucks on a train. What would that be like?
That is
I want to be on that train.
This movie
kind
made
of something
me,
I was thinking about. Go ahead.
Good.
No, I was just saying, like, as I was watching, like, what would I do? And, like, it was really hard to picture myself making some of the sacrifices other people made. Like, specifically the homeless guy that, like, blocks the mob so the mom and the girl can get away. Or, like, just all the people that put themselves in harm's way specifically for, like, other people and, like, would not help them at all. It was hard to picture myself doing that. And I don't know if that's a cultural thing or just me being a dick, but
I don't think that's cultural.
No, it's.
I think that's pretty human instinct. I think that maybe in the gray, like the ones that are clearly black and white, where it's like the homeless guy is straight up dying for these two people. Like most people probably aren't going to do that, but the gray ones, like where it's not so obvious, like did he have time to save him? Did he have to push that person? Then I think maybe the cultural stuff starts to come into play.
I think it's generally like they're in scenarios that obviously would never happen in the real world, so everything is super exaggerated, and you know,
the homeless man thing I do think is a little cultural, because they do, like, I think culturally they do look down on homeless people. Like, well, most people, even in America, like perceptively, we think homeless people are like shitty people. Like that's just what you think, and I think that's why he. Well, I'm saying like that's women have rights, but that's supposed to be like unexpected, not unexpected, but he's the character that does the good thing, not the businessman like young suck or old suck.
I could see the because the homeless guy really is a major character. I didn't even really think about like how like center he is.
Yeah, and it's set up because he helps.
Yeah.
He helps the rich or the main character, long tan and handsome, even though he didn't have to.
Yeah, that's
and he was actively trying to leave him just before that. Like I said, like he was just trying. He was like, "No, stay here. We're gonna just go somewhere else."
I would bet that maybe homelessness isn't a bigger problem, but it might be one, since there's so much like public transit. And,
it's
like,
a growing problem there.
That it's a lot harder to ignore. Like in the U.S., it's kind of just like if you're walking somewhere. But if you're constantly getting on trains, if you're constantly like taking buses or whatever, like I know that those countries are more like centered around public transportation than here in the US, so maybe it's a bigger problem.
I mean it's a big issue, and like if you go to like New York City, it's like every single street, and obviously the only way to move around New York City is like public transportation.
This movie made me wish that we had trains at all.
So we could get stuck in it with zombies.
I wish we did.
People just don't use them. We
have 5 railroads going across the whole country.
Yeah,
we have like 5 railroads.
We got a lot of trains. People are just big bitching to use them.
Sam's speaking for big car here.
Yeah, Sam.
Cars are based. I'm a big car enjoyer.
I did kind of want to bring something up. I don't know if it's really relevant, but like I think it was the first shot of the movie where the guy's like driving and he hits the deer and the deer's like a zombie or whatever. I was kind of looking forward to that. I was hoping that would be a big part of the movie, like the animals being zombies and like
oh yeah,
I don't know. I just thought that'd be really interesting, like
in the
going
train
into
movie,
a city and like
in the train
the
movie,
dogs are like fighting people, or I don't know, or like the livestock.
They just dropped that. I completely forgot that was even in the movie.
Well, that's actually something. So in like zombie movies, when they do it before the virus starts, they have to do like the hints of the disaster coming, because zombie movies are similar to disaster movies, but like
I would say
their own genre. I think when it's done well, it actually feels like it's not a disaster movie. It feels like its own thing. But so they have to have like the like the guy saying what's gonna, like the homeless man saying everyone's gonna dead and stuff, and them not listening to him, or missing the signs of like people getting killed. Actually, something that just reminded me of is this. Actually, I didn't even realize till later. The girl was in the other stall fixing her leg, the one that was turning into a zombie. while they were interrogating the homeless man in the
Yeah.
other stall
They were
cross.
too busy.
I didn't even catch that the
dealing
first
with
time.
the.
They were so worried about a
the
homeless man.
unproblematic homeless man.
Yeah.
Than to worry about the literal zombie
You call him
apocalypse. that's freaking out.
unproblematic.
Unproblematic. He was kind of manic.
He was a
Like a
little.
manic episode.
Well, he did just watch
comparatively to
everyone
the
die.
zombie apocalypse.
Justifiably,
He was
justifiably. but
chill.
to
He was
say-
chill if we're talking zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting thing that I missed the first time, mainly because I couldn't keep track of the bathrooms. I didn't understand where they were when they were at the bathrooms.
Also, I did want to put like a, I don't know, caveat or whatever with my earlier rating, because I watched this on YouTube for free. And
So did I.
Ads. I had ads like every 2 minutes.
Worst way to watch it I've ever
No,
watched.
just buy
I didn't,
YouTube
baby.
Red.
Yeah, it was
Goddamn.
brutal.
It's like $5 a month. You get no ads. It's
Ad
worth
blocker,
your,
baby.
Saves so
Never.
much time. Or ad
Never.
blocker. Yeah.
All of those
Get
things. seem
normal.
like
I
they
watched it
were
on my
worth
TV, but yeah, that's definitely the worst way to experience a movie I've ever experienced.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
I want to talk about Bulky Guy's death. How bad was that? I don't care if it didn't make sense. Him picking up the zombie and using it as a shield to hold the horn back. That was hard. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah, he was so sick the whole time.
And it was very. That was sad. I was very sad when he died, and when he told his wife. Imagine that, like having to leave your husband there once he gets bit, because that's something the movie does well. Is when someone gets bit, people know, like they're like it's over.
Yeah.
They don't like. They're not like he's gonna be okay. He's gonna be okay. Like they know.
Yeah,
he's gonna
I'm
die.
so glad it does too. Like,
Yeah.
I hate when zombie movie is like,
Well-
like the entire plot is like them, like, oh no, I don't believe it. No, this is
Most
okay.
of the characters are pretty intelligent, so that's
Yeah.
something I
Well,
definitely give it a plus. And when
They turn really quick.
did he say his daughter's name?
Yeah.
There,
Yeah.
was that what it was supposed? Did he? I
Yeah.
missed it.
Yeah,
then. Like,
he
what did he
yelled.
name her?
He yelled like a random. It was in Korean. I don't think they even
Yeah.
like
Oh,
translated
they didn't
it.
translate it. Oh, that's
that's
why I
why.
was so
'Cause
confused.
he
I was
just like
where
yelled a
was it?
random name, and I was like, that didn't sound like the wife's name, but I could be wrong. And then he goes, no, that's like our baby's name.
I didn't even
name.
catch
Yeah.
that. I thought it was like I was like, was that supposed to be like?
I feel like the
creative
music kind of like
filmmaking?
dropped right after, and it was like kind of like I feel like it was like
It's like a really.
I didn't-
quick-
obvious enough.
I missed the name. I just missed the name because I was looking for it in the subtitles. And I thought I just like
Oh.
missed it
I
somehow.
don't know about all that.
But that makes sense. That makes so much more sense. I'm so stupid, but I wish I would have. Damn, I wish you guys would have wrote it down because I would have looked it up to see what it
You're
meant.
Probably
not
has some sort of
stupid,
meaning.
Nate.
Yeah, I would have looked it up to see what it meant. But yeah, that was super sad. I was a little teary eyed when he died. I'll say I cried when the dad died. The shot of him falling off, I was so
Yeah.
cool. That was such a good way to shoot that. Once
Dude,
again, because PG.
We didn't
Yeah.
even bring up. He's on the phone with his mom as she turns into a zombie. Do you remember that scene?
I'll give that is a really good scene, but to something I actually enjoy is sometimes they definitely overact a little bit, like in some parts, and I enjoy it. Like so when she's like that bitch, like I loved it. I loved it. She does like the comedy movie like for like a solid minute, and I was like, I loved it.
Sam,
I
I'm
thought it
glad
was good.
I'm glad you brought that up because I found it really funny how like she calls her son as she's dying and she does not say anything like I love you or like I'm proud of you or like she says nothing about the son. She's like take care of your daughter and fuck your bitch ex-wife.
They
Like,
don't but they don't say I love you at the end either. That was something
yeah.
I noticed. I wonder if that's like a cultural thing.
Yeah, that might be
they
a
don't,
cultural
they just
thing.
they just don't say I love you like that, you know?
Yeah, I just found that kind of odd that she just didn't say anything like nice to her son or anything.
Yeah, and neither does Bulky Guy to Prego.
I think in a movie that's like
Bulky guy doesn't have
translated,
a time.
I assume that every like weird dialogue thing that just doesn't seem like exactly what somebody would say, I just attribute that to like the cultural difference.
Yeah, I would
But
say.
but I don't know if it's true or not, but like every
Yeah,
single time that happens in a movie like this,
No, I
always-
speak
it
for
might
all
just be
Korean
bad
people.
writing. But, like,
Yeah,
that's
that's,
what I'm saying.
uh,
Like, goodness.
The
We can't judge the
translation
dialogue.
when in the very beginning when the girl's hitting on baseball guy, they're all chanting and they're all chanting like I don't know what they're saying, but the translation is accept him.
Except
I was
him,
like-
that's so.
Yeah.
I was like that would be so awkward.
That's one of the no. That was one of the funniest parts to me. That made me. That's something like you could see some kids doing, like to fuck with their friend, you know.
Yeah.
That'd be funny.
Except maybe not
Except
accept
him.
her, but sending something like that.
No, but like,
That's what made it
that's
funny.
a funny word
Yeah,
to
it's
say for
funny.
that context.
Dude, they honestly should have just looked in like the athletic like car for some chalk and just started drawing guns on the wall. Like that 100% first move right away. I'm gonna draw the fucking SVD or the SVU.
Oh,
Well,
oh,
young Suck wouldn't
Yeah.
buy the door for him when they were stuck on the other side. That was so fucked up.
Young Zuck was saving up for
He was
Galva
trying to
Knuckles and
upgrade.
making
He
everyone
was
else
trying-
buy doors.
Yeah, that's something I did look up, but apparently, so like I guess gun laws are super strict in Korea, or
Yeah.
South Korea, so they don't. Yeah, that's why they aren't in the movie a lot,
They
which
shouldn't have
helps
guns,
the
yeah.
movie in my
Which
opinion.
It would be way more
I
boring
think
if they
helps
all
it.
had guns. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of movies do not use guns, right? So it's like like they just make the movie so much more boring because it's just an answer to anything.
Yeah.
Like if they just had a gun, just line them up and keep shooting.
It would actually
Yeah,
be worse
with-
if they had guns, I imagine.
Yeah, with how many zombies there are, I feel like, dude, you'd have to be packing some serious fucking heat to take all them all down with guns.
I mean, like that kind of shows
mean-
that, like, because the military got completely killed at the
Got boned.
train station. They all got.
I love how they're
Murder.
all dramatically just like standing in rows.
Well, that's,
That was-
I thought that was kind of interesting, and that kind of like because Sam was kind of talking about like the rules of how these zombies work in this movie. Is that like what do they do when they have nothing to like chase after? Like, do they even
Yeah.
like need to eat? Because they're all just like standing in a cluster, just
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah,
mindlessly.
that
No,
that
I'm
would
not
make me
judging
believe
that.
they do.
I'm just saying that they were literally in like military rows. I feel
Yeah.
like that's what I remember. It was like very organized.
Yeah, it kind of does. That's a cool detail because it's probably like from a biology perspective, they're probably just conserving energy. Like they're just not moving when they don't have to.
Or do
Oh,
you think
yeah.
they're? I think maybe from a narrative perspective, the point of the like is that you keep like some of your personality. So like before, like all the training they did to like march in rows or whatever military stuff was going on over there. They just
Maybe.
Yeah, that's
after
all
turning,
just
maybe that's it.
Head canon though, because it doesn't say,
Yeah,
and,
sure.
and it's not.
Is there any
implied
other
in this one.
instances of a
Not in
character
this one?
of characters after turning? Do they retain any like personality?
Only at the very
characters-
end.
No, only characters
Young-
fighting turning. That's the thing. Like, like your eyes don't mean you instantly turn. Because what's his
Yeah.
name,
But-
bulky guy, he stays fighting for a little bit before he goes down.
And of course,
And,
that's
like-
only with the main characters as well. That like
Well,
they're not
yeah,
the
I
ones
mean-
that instantly transition.
Young Suck was a dick before, and he was a dick as a zombie. So I think he stayed consistent throughout the movie.
I think it
He was
made
asking
it
for a
feel
ride
like
home, dude.
it went to like your. I feel like in the movie it implied it was like your will to survive, and young Suck's will to. You can't take old Suck's will to survive. He wanted to live, and if anybody in that movie, he wanted to live. Everyone else was like, I guess I'll die if I have to. He was getting out of there, and he fucked it up right at the end.
Long
He
tan
tripped
and
at the
handsome.
fucking 10-yard line.
Yeah, Long Tan and Handsome kind of fumbled the fucking bag at the very end. Like, as soon as the guy's eyes turned white, and you're like, you're turning. Dude, just throw him off.
Throw
Just
him.
throw
Who cares
Yeah.
about his mom? Like,
That made me
guy.
so mad.
Or like,
He could have just
like,
shrugged him off and been completely fine. Like
yeah.
happy
He
ending.
could've-
Well,
he
I
could've
think it was
front
supposed
kicked
to
him.
imply that he was kind of a bitch. That what the long Tam and handsome like wasn't like a tough guy.
No, he toughed up
Well,
the whole way
he-
up until that point. He got way tougher and was way more.
Yeah,
willing
no,
to
I'm not saying he
go
didn't
into
get
the fray.
tougher, but I'm saying he's not like a fighter. Like he's not. He doesn't
he got
know what
more-
he's doing.
He,
really.
he wasn't as selfish at the end of the movie. I think at the very beginning of the movie, he throws him off 100%. But like as his character got more sympathetic towards people, he was like peak sympathy at the very end.
The person that would make the least amount of sense to be sympathetic towards.
Yeah, he
Exactly,
has a character
yeah.
arc.
Yeah.
Especially with how universally friendly they want you to be, like universally empathetic to people. Like even kind of old Suck when he's like at the end he's weeping for his mother and stuff like that. I feel like they're trying to make you feel for him a little bit, but I don't fucking care about him.
I don't think- yeah, it's
an
I
asshole.
don't know if it
He was
works.
too evil.
No, I'm not saying it doesn't work. I just don't care about him still. I think it adds a little bit of motivation to the character. I think it also helps because I think it is. Maybe it's more he's supposed to
just
be like,
that-
crying for his mom, but because I'm reading it, I'm not getting that he's like, "Where's my mommy?" You know, like I'm not really catching that. I might have missed that bit in the translation.
Does he give Long Tan and Handsome his mom's address? Is that what he
Yeah.
tries to do? I couldn't remember if that was another
I
character.
think he says his house. Like this
Who is Long Tan and Handsome? Is that his
The main
his name?
character.
The main character.
Oh, okay. I was so confused.
That was
I
the
wanna call him-
nickname I gave him. Long
I
Tan
wrote
and
him
Handsome.
in my notes. I called him Chad, but I think we all know who the Chad dad really is.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, that's Dad.
Dad to
The
be.
almost dad. I actually, something to say is you guys probably wouldn't have thought this, but because the lady was so pregnant, I figured by the end of the movie she was gonna have the baby. Like, because
Yeah.
I feel like that's what they wanted you to think, but she didn't.
I thought she was dead as fucking fried chicken at the very end. I thought that they were
You were
100%
gonna shoot her?
sniper, and then cut to black. I was like, oh man, this is 100% happening.
I definitely think that's one of the things that helps the movie, because if it ended like that, I'd probably been like, well, that kind of ruins the whole rest of the movie.
Yeah, I would have been depressed.
I feel like, and also I like the callback to, remember he said, "I'm always watching over you," and then in the end she's finally okay with singing it, and I took that. I mean, you could kind of just interpret that any way you want, because he's still watching over her, is how she like felt about it.
Yeah, because the reason she didn't finish the song at the recital is because he wasn't there.
Yeah, he didn't want to sing.
Yeah.
She didn't want to sing it if he wasn't there.
Very based, very solid. All the character stuff in this movie is like completely flawless. I really like it, except maybe
I like all the characters.
Not
Yeah.
old, not
I love to
old young
hate.
Not
lady.
old
Yeah,
suck.
but I love to hate old suck. So
Old young lady.
old,
Well, old
yeah,
young
with
lady.
this
Yeah,
guy.
younger
It
broad.
was a cool
Younger broad.
character moment. I don't. Maybe I'm classifying it wrong, but yeah, the fucking 20-year-old in a wig.
I think we all agree that this movie is it's a pretty good movie, and I think we can all agree that
Chris
this
wants
is
to
the
change
best.
all of your rating.
I really do, because I think like I feel like in the conversations we've had, like it's pretty cool. I mean, I get preference and everything, and like
Yeah, I'm not
but,
taking
like,
my 10 out of 10 back.
I don't see any
I love
like
this movie.
huge flaws that make you like that should take any points away. Other
No
than
one
just,
said
like-
we didn't like it.
No,
Yeah.
I'm acknowledging that.
Chris
but you
is-
also, like,
This is
we-
worse than the comments.
Well, I just think that like if you give this movie like a 7 or whatever, those points taken off are like basically preference. Like I feel like because you prefer
Zombie
like maybe a
movies are
more
like that,
realistic situation to where like
Yeah,
it's not real that the dude's punching the zombies, but I don't care about that because the story of it all is way more compelling than an action scene. And I genuinely in general in movies, I don't know if I necessarily care like how great the action of it all is, whereas like you guys might care more than me.
I definitely
Not
feel
to get sword lows.
this movie uses Eastern storytelling conventions, and I feel like that might be where a lot of the differences. I'm not saying that to John, obviously, because I think John would get that because he's watched a lot more stuff like that. But Cole and Sam haven't watched a lot of Eastern movies or even any type of entertainment. Where
that's
the
main difference.
See, they play emotions like that up, like how it's like this super grim thing, like this father dying and leaving his daughter, to save his daughter, but it plays it as like this triumphant moment, like his whole, like that's definitely feels very I don't feel like you'd see that in a lot of American cinema and stuff, where like this big dramatic moment and his final moment and he smiles and he's really just killing himself for his kid. Like in an American movie, that'd probably be like really sad and it would be so depressing, and that's all it'd be. They wouldn't play any other emotion in that part. Whereas that part is both super sad and incredibly, like, I can't think of a good word for it, 'cause it's not like upbeat, but triumphant. That's a good word for it. Is triumphant in the end. It's just a different type of
He
storytelling.
won. If
yeah.
this was a game, he won the game at the end. Like like
he won the game.
Give him the dub.
And that's a thing too, is they play stuff up more. I feel like they stick with the being super dramatic scenes, like the scene where he's trying to wash the blood off his hands. Like I really enjoy that, but it's playing up the scene a little bit. I like it though. Or him punching the zombie, like that's not real, but it was the shit. So like, who cares?
It was cool regardless. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
All right.
We gotta get the wheel up.
You have to get the wheel
someone
up.
Someone grab the wheel.
Someone get the wheel.
Someone get the
I got
wheel.
it.
You saw
Alright.
it, Chris.
We got
That's all
a
my
lot of
favorite.
options on the board. A lot of options.
A lot of weight on next week, because
Alright,
my
wait.
ratings have only gone up.
Oh,
7, 8,
Oh,
9,
Surprise!
and 10.
Surprise!
It's
It's
Whoa.
Cole.
so cool.
Was there ever any
Oh
doubt?
my.
let's
Whoa!
go. Let's go.
Cole, are you prepared?
Yeah.
Can you handle the pressure? following
movie
a
last
10
year?
out of 10 movie. Everyone rated it 10 out of 10. No
Yeah.
one had any gripes.
Well, my goal wasn't to pick a movie that is going to be 10 out of 10.
All right, so Cole picked the worst movie. Oh God.
So I picked Annihilation, which is a sci-fi
okay.
movie from I think 2018 or 2019.
2018.
I think. Oh, okay, it's older than I thought. I have not seen that.
Yeah, I've only seen it once, and it was just one of those movies that kind of sticks with you after. And I've always wanted to rewatch it, and I just never got around to it. But I really think like you guys will all have things to say after watching it for sure.